Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the regular meeting, Monday meeting for April 22nd, 2024 of the City Council. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:32. Roll call, please, Ms. Clerk.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Claudia Arona.
Here.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Here.
Mayor Infante.
Here.
Thank you.
Mr. Beebe, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Mayor, if everyone please stand, face the flag, put your hand over your heart. Way to
go.
You moved it.
I pledge allegiance
Can't change things like that. I get lost. Okay. All right. We have one proclamation that I would like to present to you. This is a Donate Life Month proclamation. Whereas organ, eye, tissue, marrow, and blood donations are life-giving acts recognized worldwide as expressions of compassion to those in need, and more than 110,000 individuals nationwide and more than 23,000 in California are currently on the National Organ Transplant Waiting List. On an average, 22 people die each day waiting. Whereas the need for donated organs is especially urgent in Hispanic, Latino, and African American communities, and a single individual's donation of heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, small intestine, and tissue can save and heal many lives. And whereas donors saved more than 46,000 lives last year, the most ever, and any person can register to be an organ, eye, or tissue donor regardless of age or medical conditions. And being a registered donor does not impact the quality of life-saving medical care a person receives in an emergency. And whereas California residents can sign up with the Donate Life California Donor Registry online at any time by visiting www.donatelifecalifornia.org, or for Spanish speakers, it's www.donevitacalifornia.org, or California residents can sign up to be an organ, eye, or tissue donor when applying for or renewing their driver's licenses or ID cards at the California Department of Motor Vehicles. And whereas California residents interested in saving a life through kidney donation may visit the livingdonationcalifornia.org. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mark Infante, the mayor, along with the City Council of the City of Solvang, California, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as National Donate Life Month in the City of Solvang. And in doing so, we encourage all Californians to check yes online when applying for or renewing their driver's license or ID card at the DMV. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and have caused the official seal of the City of Solvang to be fixed this 22nd day of April 2024. Do we have anybody here representing this organization? Yes, please do.
I just want to let you know that I have a little donor card button on my license, and I highly recommend it, even though my doctor's here, Dr. Lane, and he says there's really nothing there for you to give. But there you have it. You know, I'm happy to do that, and I encourage everybody to do the same. It's a worthwhile endeavor for someone else.
Here you are, sir. Would you like to say a couple words?
Well, a couple after what he did.
We'll get a picture taken after you. Ready? Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the proclamation. My name is Scott Burns. I'm in Santa Barbara.
Closer to the
If
microphone.
I'm closer to the mic, then you'll hear me and fall asleep. I'm sorry. My name is Scott Burns. Thank you for the proclamation. This weekend, it will be down in Los Angeles at the annual Run Walk with the other proclamations from the various cities. We do this every year to promote organ donation. Last year, I was walking with, and well, some of them ran, I walked, with the lady whose kidney I have, her family. Over the years, we've gotten together with her. Here is a shirt with Live Like Viv, Vivian's. Last year, we do all we can to support her.
That's spectacular.
She was about 40 years old when she passed away, and we do all we can for her. I have never met her. I've gotten to know her family. I was in 2015, I was on a sailboat with a friend on Santa Cruz Island. The Santa Barbara Harbor Patrol came up behind me and said, "Mr. Burns, we have a kidney for you." So I ended up getting on the Harbor Patrol boat back to Santa Barbara, got home, took a nice long shower, because as a doctor would know, showers in hospitals are really not that much fun. We'll just leave it at that. The next morning, I have a fully functioning kidney at Cedars-Sinai Transplant Center. It's 9 years ago. It's still working very well. Other things going on, just so you guys will know, a couple of small details. One, Cedars Donate Life is moving a branch office into Carpinteria, which Carpinteria doesn't seem like it's that close, but it's a lot closer than Azusa. So and that will be to help them work with the hospitals that are in town. The other thing that I've mentioned, and I appreciate you showing the pink dot, nowadays, most people go to the DMV about once every 5 years. It used to be once every 4 years. The last time there was a study, 94% of the people said they were in favor of organ donations, but only 54% of the people in that study had actually signed up. What they have done is last year, the state of California passed a new bill so that next year, with your California income tax, every year you'll be asked a question if you're interested in donating an organ. Just as you mentioned, some people are older than I am. I'm kidding. The oldest deceased donor for a kidney was 105 years old. The oldest living kidney donor was 96 years old. So I have hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I think we have a tourism and marketing quarterly update, please. John?
Yeah, I just want to take a moment. So John is here from TJA. I believe Anna's here, and then Jamie's online to go over quickly the latest quarterly report, and also to announce their fulfillment of the commitment to get our dashboard live. So John, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor Infante, council members. It's great to see you. Nice to be with you. As Randy mentioned, we've been asked to kind of give you kind of a brief overview because we realize you have a busy meeting tonight. But first I wanted to take you through the dashboard. And basically when you see this, it's now live. This is, as you will recall, this is a proprietary dashboard. It actually sits on its own URL, which is solvang-dashboard.com, and it'll be password protected. It's not that there's real proprietary information, but it wouldn't make sense to put this on the visitor site because this is more really for businesses, lodging constituencies, Chamber of Commerce, of course, city staff, and the council. And then the second component of that is also a report to the business community and again to city staff revenue receipts. So TOT reports collections on there, sales tax, occupancy, and comparisons also of tourism cities and competitive analysis. So there's a STAR report, which recently Solvang subscribed to out of Randy's office, and this gives us really great research information as far as how other communities are doing with their revenue and their occupancy and their RevPAR, the profitability of their occupancy. So Rick is on Zoom, so if we want to bring him on board, and he'll take us through. And again, there's a lot to see on this. I encourage the council to go and take a look. And then also part of our presentation tonight is also the details of that report will be on the dashboard as well. So when I talk about LA Times, there'll be a lot more as far as what the nuances of the campaign was. And then once that campaign's completed, there'll be a whole report on the success of that campaign and how we did, and the stats and stuff. So if you want to bring Rick on.
Sharing the screen now?
Yep, there you go. You're on.
Okay. So this is the dashboard, and of course the picture of Solvang here, of course, leading off. We're gonna walk through these tabs up here: revenue, website, social media campaign, archives, and other reports. I'm going to give you some of the highlights. Like John said, there's a lot here. One of the things that'll always be adaptive, because right down here, after the welcome, this is a strategic marketing plan from 2024 to 2025 that was just added. And there are some various other reports down here. Going over to the revenue page, like John said, we're tracking TOT and sales tax. This is some of the important information that the lodging industry is always interested in. This is the STAR report. One of the things to notice here is you notice this is January 2024. Because of the way the data for TOT and sales tax is reported, there will be a 2-month lag. All the other tabs, website, social media, and campaigns are all at March right now. So that's how this will operate. So here is tracking 5 years of TOT in a nice little graph here. And you can also see how it's doing this year and against last year. Then here's a table that also shows you year over year, year to date. Right now, you're 9.34% ahead. Down here is sales tax, same kind of thing, 5 years. Here's the table, and it shows you you're 6.2% ahead of last year. Website, and it reports certain metrics up here that are interested for people that are looking at website data. One of the things here, this is website sessions, and obviously this big high point is Yule Fest up here. It just shows you how down here, all up to Yule Fest and back down again. This is the sessions tracking, and if you want to go back, you can see we had 181,749 sessions in December at Yule Fest. This is some things that are important for website development, new users versus returning users. This is really interesting. This green here shows you how many people are on mobile. So you can see that 70% of everybody that comes on the website's on mobile, which this is also pretty interesting here. Geolocation, percentage of city of California visitors. And these are the actual cities: Los Angeles, San Jose, San Francisco, Solvang, San Diego. Good to track because a lot of times you're going to go out and do some promotions to certain cities, so you want to be able to track that back. This is lodging referrals from our website to the various lodging members, and you see we've sent 32,765 to them so far. And here's some other charts down here. We'll go over to social media. Social media is tracking 3 things, and this is interesting. This is might help people understand engagements, impressions, and link clicks because they're used throughout this report. So we're tracking Facebook, and there's some of the metrics for Facebook. And here is the Facebook followers for the last 5 months, and you can see it's increasing each month over month. Then these are the top posts. You can click on the post. This is a little breakdown of what the posts say. If you want to read the posts, there's links to them. And we do the same thing for Instagram. And there's the followers for Instagram. And also same kind of thing, posts. And there's the TikTok report. There's your metrics. And there's how we're going with the TikTok followers. Campaigns got a little bit of everything. Here's the meta ad that was running, the Solvang lodging specials, gives you all the data on that, the spend, the cost per click, how many impressions, and you can kind of see the video over here that they ran. Down next is the latest blog post, and here's PR results with clicks through to see actually what it was all about. And here's some influencer media information. That was an influencer that was the last around here. So archives is exactly what you would think. They're monthly reports here. So if you ever want to go back and check on anything, there's all the monthly reports. So they drag over. Now, other reports, that's where we're at with our quarterly reporting right now. So we're going to turn this back over for the quarterly reports.
So that's
And
what you
it's
call the perfect segue.
Yep.
And hopefully it's going to work.
To make it
So
easy.
just again, for a collaboration of the 3 partners you have, TJA being one, and then Isolate and also Stiletto, they give us their data, so then we then impart that into the dashboard. So it's another good working relationship there. It gives the opportunity for the council and for anyone else in the city that wants to have these reports and can go in and delve into them more. And just like the website, the dashboard was never ending. As we get more data, more content, it'll grow. But we've got a really good start, and that's why it took a little longer. We wanted to get enough information in there. So it's one to design it, and then it's also supplying the data to the dashboard. So we're pretty far along in that process. So if you can go to the, I think, Rick, you're still driving, I think. You're going to go to the slides for TJA?
Yeah, can't you see it? It's up there on right now.
No, not yet. So
Really?
maybe he'll have to share his screen. Would that be?
You can't see that report? Oh, okay. Let
Very
me go-
small.
I think you have to share your screen, maybe. There you
You
go.
see it?
That's up there. There we go. Perfect.
Okay, we're good to go?
Yep.
All right.
He just did that to make me nervous.
Just to prove he was there and handling things.
I
Okay,
did
Rick,
do it.
next slide, please.
Okay, so,
So the first part of this, one of our major efforts for the first quarter has been working with Randy and Candace, particularly Candace, on the updating of the website. As you all recall, our first goal was to get off the old site because there was some problems, some serious problems with the functionality. In fact, it eventually kind of died on us because of the lack of paperwork being done by a previous agency. So we were up with 5 days of being down, but luckily we had the site ready to go, the first site. And that was to get a fully functioning site in time for Yule Fest, which we achieved and which is very important. So now we're in the process of being able to step back and look at what we want to do and refine. And we've had some feedback from various people on how we could better the site. First of all, the homepage was like the first place we set it on to because that's obviously the one that's very important, people go to first. So we edited and formatted a new video header for that. So we produced a video and then edited it and then placed it onto the website. We refocused the featured items on the homepage to make them easier for reviewing and also for SEO, for search engine optimization as far as how Google looks at us. Create a rotating banner of the lodging properties, making it a little more fair. So they would randomly be centered onto the homepage. We posted blogs, as you saw when Rick presented the dashboard, and new content for the website. So updating copy, updating any businesses, anything that was new. And Candace has been really great in working with us and getting us all of that. We updated all the maps to include all the recent businesses and landmarks. So as far as the website, and again, we have a much wider report on the dashboard that you're welcome to look at, but just some highlights here to be quick, to go through it quickly. January through March, our 2024 sessions were 201,857. This time last year, they were 176,518. So we had a good increase of over 25,000 more sessions compared to this time last year. And that equates out to about a 14%, over 14% increase. Lodging referrals, which is a very important component. Most of our campaigns are centered around a call to action to increase overnight stays and thereby growing TOT. So in March of this year, we had 8633, and last year we had 79. So we increased over 600 lodging referrals, which is about an 8% increase from the previous quarter. And we already covered this, but just to, again, the dashboard is now fully operational. Encourage you all to go on, and if you have any comments or any suggestions for us, we'd be happy to hear those. Sales tax reports, TOT reports. Then on the other side of it, advertising campaigns and recaps, social media reports, public relations and lodging. And as I said, those are all submitted by the individual companies that are responsible for those. And currently underway, we have a very significant spring campaign with the Los Angeles Times. Again, the call to action there is lodging specials. The demographics are households, 150,000, wine enthusiasts, outdoor, golf, foodies, culture, history lovers, targeted digital advertising, which consists of banner ads as well as native stories that appear to be by the LA Times, written by the LA Times, although we give them the content. And just so Randy and Candace have been in the process of approving all the creative, approving the tactics that we did, so they're all aware of that prior to any things being placed, as was discussed in our contract. And then social media paid ads, which have been targeted for specific purposes, and then Also, there was a traditional old print ad that we did. This was in the ETA magazine, which was a travel magazine inserted in the travel section of the Sunday LA Times, and we were able to garner that for $5,000, and it was a cost of $15,000 was the actual rate. And Randy has some copies he could share with you later. You can see our ad in there. And then lastly, we are involved in some advertising co-ops. You know, we really look at co-ops opportunities. Is there something that we couldn't do on our own, but with the benefit of, say, Visit California or Sunset Magazine, we get into a travel road trips, which was Visit California. I have a small ad there. We're currently on the Central Coast Tourism map, which goes throughout California. And then in the fall, yet to happen here, we'll be doing a Sunset Magazine travel co-op as well. And so our digital marketing updates, we continue to do monthly meta ads. This is more on our side of the social media that we currently do at TJA. We do local hood story creations. We manage all your crowd riff, which we've talked about before, which is a third-party way we get photographs and postings, and we're able to get the rights to those and share those out. We just finished this last week a photo shoot coordination with a person that we've used in the past, and we provided all of the video, the drone footage, and still shots. We provided those across the board to TJA's efforts on the website and advertising, but also we shared all that out with Islet and with Anna. In fact, we asked both Stiletto and Islet what types of creative they were looking for and what kind of dimensions. And so all that was delivered, and they were very happy with that, and that's just happened this last week. We are still involved with Pinterest, and that's growing very well, and we have those statistics on the dashboard. And then we continue to do monthly email blasts and blog posts. And with that, that's my presentation. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council?
I do have a question.
Sure.
Is there a way on the dashboard to see how either the clicks translated to further engagement, such as a visit or a booking to a hotel?
Yeah, we can look at that. I mean, the lodging referrals that we post are pretty close to that. But since there's not a booking engine on the website, so it's hard for us to track. So what we can track is people come on the website, they go onto the lodging specials page, and then they go onto the hotel. Whether they booked or not, that rests with the hotel.
Okay.
But there are formulas we can do because we've asked, and this might be something we might want to think about in the future. We did this in Pismo Beach, our other client. We can ask the hoteliers if they'll share that information, like what is their percentage of booking versus the people going on the site, and it can range from 10% to 50% depending upon the interest of people, but we could figure out a rate of return by getting some kind of an average percentage of that.
Okay, thank you.
Can you clarify that means that as soon as, so when they request a lodging, how do we know that the lodging came from our URL as the source?
We track it. So
We can track
we
it,
can
not,
track that.
we
So
don't need it from the
When I say
hotel.
lodging referrals, that's tracked. We can look exactly, people that go on say the lodging specials page, we can see which hotel they went to.
But we still don't know if they've actually booked.
No, that's because
Okay.
the hotel, it ends when they get the lead, or when they get then whether
So
they
that
book
would
or not.
close the loop if we get that data from them.
But usually it's a pretty high percentage. So it can go anywhere, like I said, maybe half the people do. And we're happy to, we could do a couple scenarios and give you a rate of return on that.
I have a question and then a couple comments. Can you give us a quick update on where we are with security of the website? So I recall the last update when we were in our former hobbled state, we were at risk. And have we gotten current on all our security?
Yeah,
protection?
we're involved in that right now. Also accessibility too, which is a very big thing. And we just performed an audit on accessibility, and we're looking at all those security things. And then in addition to that, making sure that, as we talked to you all about at the very first, was that all the passwords, credentials, everything rests with the city and not with TJA or anybody else. You have all those at your ability. So you know all the renewals, everything that comes up, that will be in your area as well.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, just a request. Since you emphasize that so many of our users are coming from mobile devices, 70%, I did notice that you spent a lot of energy on the video header. It doesn't work on the mobile device. And I'm sure there's other things that are changed in the experience for mobile devices versus the website. And I would just suggest to design first with the
Well,
mobile
I
devices in
assure you,
mind.
we design the website mobile first. When we designed the website, it was designed on a mobile phone. As far as the video header, I'll have to take a look at that. But there are some limitations that you have that you can place on the desktop for the benefit of those who do go on a desktop. But and there are some limitations when it's on mobile.
Well, I only checked it from the iPhone because that's the only device that I have, so.
Well, I have an Android. There you go. No, we'll check it.
Okay, super. And then just one other comment, and then I'll give some feedback to our team separately on the events page, because I think there's some attention we need to pay there. It's more policy than anything else. There was some uptick. I read the whole report. There was some real uptick in engagement when we had influencers post some unique content. And that seems like a way to capture net new visitors.
It
to our
depends on the influencer.
city and our-
but, you know, and that's, Anna's more involved in that, but from our experience with influencers, it really depends upon, when we look at influencers, we look at what type of creative we're going to get from them too. So if somebody's really good in photography assets and video, then their engagements is kind of the gravy on top of that. But the influencers, and I know Anna does this too, she'll look at how many engagements they have, and people can have followers, but if nobody's engaging, then it's not worthwhile. So they are very valuable. They just have to be picked properly.
Yeah, the data that they shared was the increase in engagement and the increase in clicks from that particular.
Yeah, let's hope
influencer.
so.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yes, sir.
John, you had mentioned that you have Meta or Facebook and then Twitter. You also mentioned TikTok, and I know there's a lot of, if we're putting money behind that asset, what's the likability or probability of something happening to that asset going away?
Right. We've talked about that. Randy has had that discussion. We've brought it up. With the controversy, do we want to continue to have TikTok on the dashboard or continue to implement it? And that's more a question for Islet, but it still is a viable program right now. And I don't think they're investing a whole lot, into that effort if it would go away. But it's something that has to be, monitored because it is controversial and it is in the news media pretty regularly. So that would be a good question for them.
Speaking of Islet, we've got Jamie online. Jamie, do you have anything you want to add or talk about?
Hi, sure. I can pop in just real quick about the influencer question, and then I can talk about the TikTok thing as well. So for the influencers, we did, and this is on our part of the presentation as well, we did see a little bit of an increase in followers a day that a couple of influencers shared. Some of them we partnered with and others we didn't, which was awesome. So we are continuing to work with Anna on vetting those influencers, and we get so many coming at us a day in both the DMs as well as Anna's emails. So we work together to figure out, is their content aligned? Is their audience aligned? So we have a very strong set of guidelines for us to actually move forward with someone. So that's the process that we go through. For TikTok, we are definitely still growing there. We are just under 2,000 followers right now. I do think that it is still an important platform for us to be on, especially in the tourism world. People like to see that sort of content. And I know for Yule Fest, we had a really popular video that hit just under 100,000 followers. So it really, not followers, views. So it is helping to increase the awareness of Solvang. So I do think it's something to keep.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, some of the comments, Sue from the Visitor Center is here as well to talk about, but some of the comments that she's received, people are coming here because they've seen things on TikTok. So there is, that pending what happens in Washington, D.C., obviously, I would suggest that we continue to utilize that platform.
Yeah, I think we're getting
Anna
the
is,
message.
Anna is here as well, so she or Sue, if they have anything to add, they can come up.
We'll get both of them.
I don't know if Rick can also pull up the rest of the slides or my presentation. Sue's slides are at the end of mine. But in a nutshell, because it was long and I don't want to bore you with it, they've already mentioned some of the things that I'm working on as well. It's really umbrella. So a lot of what I've been doing lately is creating copy that then we all use. So each time we have our biweekly calls, we talk about, okay, what are we all going to work together as a team on promoting next month? Is it going to be doggy? Is it going to be dealing with the rain? And a lot of that translates then down into the local hood stories that Claudia does with TJA, and to the email blasts that she does as well through TJA, and to the social calendar, which we get in advance to take a look at. So a lot of that content then I also repurpose and use for editorial pitches and anywhere else that I need it for submitting content up to Visit California or Visit Santa Barbara or the Central Coast Tourism Council. So that's one of the things. And then you mentioned the influencers. So right now I'm trying to do a mix of traditional media, like writer visits, and then the influencers as well. Doesn't always go the way we think it's going to go. It is a lot of trial and error with these people and finding how Solvang content resonates with their audiences when we think it's going to do well, and sometimes it doesn't. But we're learning. The influencer world obviously has been a roller coaster since the beginning of the pandemic. And there's different things we look at. It's not only looking at the engagement and how large somebody's follower count is, because influencers are broken down into like micro and macro, and sometimes we want somebody specifically, even if they don't have 1 million followers, because of where they are geographically, where their home base is, and who's following them, specifically who's following them. We can see who their followers are, and if it's somebody that I want to see Solvang, but they've not come up here yet, well, then we're going to try for somebody who is someone they follow, right? So there's a number of things that we look at when each of these people come to us, either come to us or we go out to them with the requests. Some of the press clips, which were in the packet and are also in that dashboard in the full report, one of them in particular that I know Sue had a lot of comments on was the Today Show, right? When we had, back in January, the beginning of the first quarter, a Today Show clip that was actually aired on Today Show on TV. And I worked with them to provide video, B-roll, and photos. I got a fact check via phone while I was online at Disneyland for a ride. So that did really well. Again, you don't always know, but it's nice to hear when people actually come in and say that they saw it. And we're like, okay, that worked, because you don't always know if people see these things. And if they do, they get confused and they don't always tell you the truth about where they found out about Solvang, or they don't remember. So yeah, it's nice to see the direct correlation, even if it's hearsay at times.
Before you leave the mic, if I may, for those of you that get the news broadcast from the city and you get these little notices, it was a notice that came out that I had written a note about how sorry we were about the fire that happened in Denmark. Although I got the credit for it, Anna wrote it. So I wanted to say thank you, first off, for putting that together and giving me the credit. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I always wonder what the A was in AI.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, so about the TikTok thing, just wanted to mention, it was in my report, but in March, so this was the first time that I personally had talked to people who said, yes, they saw videos on TikTok, and that's why they were here. And actually, one of them was this cute, sweet little family from Mexico. And I asked them, they're visiting from Mexico. How did you find out? And she said, well, a video just popped up on TikTok of Solvang. And so she said, and I loved it so much that I just started watching more and more. And she said, do you know there is a ton of videos on TikTok of Solvang? And she goes, we just watched them, and then I finally decided we were coming. So, and that was just one family. So that was, and there were 3 that told me personally. So, and that was the first time that I'd been told. I think it's amazing that we have these things that people from other countries now are seeing Solvang and wanting to come. So I do think it's important right now. Well, if we can use it, I think it's good. So, did you guys have any questions for me or anything?
Questions? Anybody?
A shout out to the whole team. We were voted number 2 of the small city destinations.
On
So
U.S. News and World Report? I think it was?
Yes, I know it was number 2, but that's like Avis, we just try harder. So, to be number 1, so a shout out for the whole team. Great job.
Well, thank you very much. I do love that we work together, and I want to say thank you to everyone who worked on the website as well. It has made such a difference for our visitors and for us. It makes life so much easier to be able to tell everyone, go on Solvang USA. You know, you can get all the information there. And we get so many people telling us, yeah, they saw Solvang on social media, on Facebook. So I think the marketing team is doing a really good job, at least from the perspective that we have from the feedback we're getting. I feel really good about where we're going and where Solvang's headed, and it feels really good again. So thank you, everyone, and thank you all for the hard work you're doing. And Randy has been so supportive and wonderful. So I think we have a good team going here. So I appreciate all of you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I will give them one more kudo, particularly about the website. Excuse me. This week I was the introductory speaker at the Economic Development Conference here in town. And I used a PowerPoint, and I stole your video of Solvang, because Randy said I could. He said it was legal. Yeah, exactly. I could use it. And I put it in there and showed it to everybody, including our state representatives that were there, because it's a great video, that one that's right on the main page of the website. So thank you very much. Okay, with that, I think we need to go into public communications. If you would introduce that for us, please, Ms. Clark, and hand me the slips. Thank you.
At this time, you may address the council on items not on the agenda and on consent. Time limit is 3 minutes for a total of 30 minutes for this session. We'll start with in-person public comments first.
Thank you very much. All right, and again, because you can tell we have a lot of people and there's a lot of speaking going to go on tonight, we are going to be pretty stiff about holding you to 3 minutes. Let me start off with Joanne Clark. There you are. Hi, Joanne. And we'll follow that by Craig Kent. Please.
I'm here to address the comments that were made last month at a city council meeting. You, our city council members, were accused of being haters, that you have brought out hatred in Solvang, and that Solvang is not a loving town anymore because of you. The fact that we do not paint our crosswalks for gay pride shows we care more about horses than human rights. It was suggested that we might have bylaws or a code of ethics in the city to prevent black people from being hired or elected, citing there are no black city workers or black council members. It was stated that we crucify black people here in Solvang. And lastly, that they hope that we are not paying sheriffs to torture, humiliate, and belittle people. My mother grew up here. I grew up here. My children grew up here. I know the community. I know all but one of the city council members personally. I can guarantee that they are not haters, racially or otherwise. As for our town, we are not unloving here in our community. In fact, we are the opposite. Will there always be unintelligent, ignorant, thoughtless people who will be biased because of race, religion, or other things? Unfortunately, there will. However, the city council is not comprised of those people, nor are the majority of the citizens of Solvang. Taking wise counsel from people who work with and understand the behavior of horses, the city council has protected human rights. They have protected all people of all persuasions by protecting their rights to safety. As far as accusing our council of some sinister plan to not allow Black employees or council members? It is not the council's fault that that not one Black individual has won an election or applied to work for the city. There has been no reported crucifying of Black individuals here, and there have been no reports of sheriffs torturing, humiliating, or belittling citizens. We have a welcoming, friendly, caring community here. It would be important to remember that if someone is having a negative reaction to us, it may have nothing to do with our race, religion, etc. The cause may be our demeanor, or our behavior, or our words. If you are unfamiliar with our city council or what kind of community Solvang is, I invite you to contact our council members, talk to them, and find out for yourself what kind of individuals they are. If you want to know what kind of community we have here, talk to residents and business owners, people who have been here for many years. Find out firsthand for yourselves. Council members, I appreciate your service and how you care about our community, and I am sorry that you are required to listen to hateful vitriol. I appreciate your tolerance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Craig Kent. I'll be followed by Denise Elamine.
Mr. Mayor, council members, good evening. My name is Craig Kent. I've been a homeowner and resident of Solvang for many decades. I'm going to speak about the significant traffic and the consequential safety impacts of the proposed Wildwood project on road intersections in Solvang, in particular on the Alamo Pintado Road, Old Mission Drive, Nielsen Shopping Center intersection. Alamo Pintado Road is one of the three main traffic arteries connecting Solvang to the rest of the San Ynez Valley, as well as to Santa Barbara County and beyond. It is also the primary and fastest vehicle route to Cottage Hospital Emergency Room on Viborg Road. The Wildwood project will add significant vehicular as well as pedestrian and bicycle traffic to the Alamo Pintado Old Mission Drive Nielsen Shopping Center intersection. This intersection already experiences heavy traffic at peak hours and not infrequently experiences temporary gridlock for several minutes at a time when traffic backs up from the stoplight at the intersection of Alamo Pintado Road and Highway 246. The gridlocks will become more frequent and longer in duration with the hundreds of added vehicle trips and increased pedestrian and bicycle crossings. A safety impact resulting from the significant increase in vehicular traffic produced by the Wildwood project is slowed emergency response to victims north of the intersection and critical time access to the emergency room at Cottage Hospital for victims being transported from the south of the intersection during periods of heavy traffic and particularly during gridlock. The importance of rapid ambulance response to emergency medical crises has been well documented by many studies which have determined that a response time of less than 5 to 8 minutes is correlated with myocardial survival rate and that the survival rate decreases by 2.15% per minute without intervention by advanced cardiac life support. In addition, the response time and transport time are correlated with survival rates for abdominal gunshot wound victims, and that the overall total emergency medical services pre-hospital time interval was significantly lower for trauma survivors than for non-survivors. Relative to pedestrian and bicycle safety, the Alamo Pintado intersection is a four-way stop. Pedestrians and bicyclists crossing Alamo Pintado have to cross 5 lanes of traffic. It is not uncommon to see cars crossing in front of and behind the pedestrians in the crosswalk. Many of us have frequently observed drivers who roll the stop or even slowing a bit on approach and then running through the stop. These actions can distract drivers and cause them to not appropriately notice pedestrians and bicyclists, particularly after dark, because the crosswalk on the north side of the intersection is poorly illuminated by the 2 light poles on the south side of the intersection. These driver actions are not legal, but that does not change the reality that drivers make these actions. Adding significantly more vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists to the intersection will significantly increase the safety risk to bicyclists and pedestrians. I urge the city to continue to require the assessment of level of service of this and other intersections to inform the significant impacts of this project will create to emergency response times as well as to pedestrian and bicyclist safety. This is in light of the state change to VMT. I also urge the city to critically assess the significant traffic and resulting safety impacts of the Wildwood project and take measures to require the developer to significantly reduce the size of the project. Thank you for listening and considering what I've said.
Thank you very much. Ms. Elamine, followed by Mark Oliver.
Hi, my name is Denise Elamine. I live in Solvang. My family has been here for over 50 years. We are property owners. We pay taxes. Last 2 weeks, I talked about my taxes. I had to put my property tax bill in the mail. And then a couple days later, I had to put my income tax bill in the mail. And then a couple days later, I had to pay $150 gas to fill up my truck. So I just want to let you know that I, Denise Elamine, pays a lot of taxes here in the city of Solvang. So I am allowed to say, speak my piece, and you don't have to agree with it. That is your prerogative, but I can have an opinion in this form. That's what is called public. And if some of the public people don't like it, okay, but I can't speak. And I do want to speak about when the tourism comes with their quarterly report, it would be really nice if they would give us how much we've spent, the dollar amount. It lacks a lot of data here. I don't get a lot of data. I don't get a lot of money, the amount of money that we're spending for the tourism. I see the website's gone up, and I see that they're saying that we're 7%. I don't know what that means, because what's 7% of two people? What's 7%? If it's gone up from 2 to 3, what percentage is that? So basically, when you use percentages, it skirts what the data is. So it would be nice to get some actual numbers, dollar amounts, amount of peoples, and let's stop using percentages. Percentages are not giving the correct amounts. And I'm just asking if we could just start using just plain data, pure data, no percentages. And I hope that I'm allowed to do that. Don't want to offend anybody today. But that's what I'm asking for: data, please, no percentages. Also, I just wanted to explain and give a little government lesson here. When we get FEMA and grants and money from the county, it's not free. It comes from my federal income tax. It comes from the gas tax. Really, there is no free money in the United States. It's government, and government comes from our taxes. So please, when you talk about grants and FEMA and free money, please be cognizant that it is not free. Some type of my money from somewhere that I'm putting in the mailbox is paying for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mark Oliver, followed by Tracy Baird.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Mark Oliver. I do not live in Mission Oaks, and I'm not opposed to affordable housing. Several months ago, I started a change.org petition calling for the city council to oppose the Wildwood project, known as Site C as well. I wanted to report on that, and given the tourism numbers we've been hearing tonight, I think these numbers will sound interesting also. To date, 2,837 individual signatures have been added to the petition. 408 came from Solvang alone, which constitutes 16% of the community's households. However, an even more significant number for a resort town dependent on tourism dollars. 45,609 individuals nationwide have viewed the petition. Let that sink in. Tourists visit Solvang from everywhere in the USA, and more than 45,000 of them have looked at this petition. And it may very well influence their decision to visit Solvang in the future. Outside of this county, a preponderance of signatures come from LA, Orange, and San Diego counties, and the Bay Area, as you know, top sources for tourism here. Comments came in like this from Inglewood, California. Quote, "Don't ruin the charm of Solvang." Or from Longmont, Colorado, "Solvang is congested enough. No one ever, with regards to development, considers infrastructure and water issues." And this from Woodland Hills. Dear Solvang, please don't become Woodland Hills. With love from Woodland Hills. So there you have it. What do you tell city council members, the more than 45,000 viewers of this petition? What will your choice be? Are you going to be with the citizens or opposed? This should be a no-brainer. Push back on the developer and its heavy-handed marketing behavior, noting the fact that, as Mission Oaks attorney Mark Shatillo has said in his letter to the city, the developer's application is submitted to HCD under builder's remedy did not vest, and the city cannot process the application under the builder's remedy law. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tracy Beard, followed by Al Cortese.
Thank you, Council. I wanted to just say thank you for coming, for those that did, Randy and that, to our Economic Summit. Mark did an amazing job, and David Brown was there. We had Dana Stout from Go Biz from the Governor's Office. I think she enlightened us on many opportunities that this community has and our nonprofits have. I did give to Ms. Porter, Anne Marie, a little outline of what we said we would do, and we will send this out to everyone that was there. We had 139 paid guests that came through the door through the day, which I thought was great because for a 4-hour summit, we only lost about 5 people through the day, so that was very good. We did the economic on the uplift summary, which I've given you, the California Digital Equity Plan, the uplift plan, the REACH, and the SUDS. These are very important documents for our city to have, and we will make them available on our website also. Also, the Santa Barbara housing element in the housing projects, and also within tourism, to talk about tourism with Visit California. We were able to put 17 of our events on there last year ourselves and with our businesses. So I thought that was great. And there's a back way to do that. So we hope that all of our business continue to work with Visit California on top of us locally with Shelby and our local agency here at the City of Solvang. Also on our wine, she gave a great report on that. And we feel that we did a good job for our first economic summit going out of the gate, and we were proud of that. Our partnerships will continue with our state office and our federal office. We also thought Ms. Hartman gave a good overview of our community in general of what the Santa Ynez Valley is. May 12th is the state of Vandenberg. May 8th is here in the Valley, and it's Cyclemania, and we are partnering on Cyclemania with our city and everyone. And you will receive helmets and lights, bike lights, and little wristbands and that to ride your bike or come, free water bottles. And we ask everyone to continue doing a great job on the tourism. And just so people that don't know, the tourism numbers are in the back of what you spend on the warrant. So if you know how to read the projects that the city puts out, they are there and they're very good. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Al Cortese, followed by Lansing Duncan.
Good evening, council members and Mr. Mayor. Good to see you back live.
Thank you.
I'm Al Cortese and 10-year Solvang resident. Tonight I'd like to underline what you've already heard about the Site C development application that was filed April 2nd. As I said at the last council meeting, in many ways, the revised plan is worse than the original. It now consumes the entire site, covering most of it with hard surfaces likely to magnify flooding risks. Dead-end access to the 100 units, now with 41 more bedrooms and even higher density, now feeds into Hillside Drive, the Mission Oaks South Entry exit road, at 2 points. High-density traffic pouring in and out of those points, clogged with parking, is an extreme traffic safety hazard and an emergency access disaster. These are only some of the reasons why so many concerned citizens have signed the petition opposing this development. In fact, the city should not even be considering the application under builder's remedy. It is our position that pursuant to that very law, the development proposal is void for failure to obtain the consent and joinder of all of the co-owners of the common property the developer seeks to take for his exclusive use as a driveway and parking. Therefore, the city, by following the builder's remedy law, that provision of it, can take back control of development in Solvang. I conclude with a plea that the council not permit the gobbling up of more of Solvang's limited green space and wildlife habitat. And that, of course, includes that last lone windswept valley oak battling the elements at the top of the knoll at the north end of Site C. Please don't permit the disappearance of that old oak to mark the destruction of local control over the appearance and character of Solvang. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lansing?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Lansing Duncan, and I want to make a point of recognizing Earth Day, especially in relationship to Santa Barbara County, in that we were instrumental both by being a victim and a responder to an environmental disaster. And obviously, Site C isn't exactly the same as an oil spill, but considering how important a site it is in terms of entering into Solvang, it's something that we should consider. I was not surprised that the draft environmental impact report for the general plan update found that the environmentally superior alternative was to not build the developer's proposed 109-unit alternative project. And there were many reasons for that. And one of those reasons did happen to be the open space it provides now. And open space is really important in terms of the context. Where is it in terms of other areas where you might have linkage or views, traffic, et cetera? It's a very valuable site right now, particularly the highly elevated part of it. And the founders of Solvang recognized that. In the community design element of 1988, it points out that this is a scenic view over that property right there. And it would be nice if we had a better project that would continue to protect that view in some way. I can't understand why the developer would call his project Wildwood when he proposes to remove the only wild trees on his site. And then he proposes to remove a few more trees on the Mission Oaks site. And then he proposes to remove some of the trees that Mission Oaks has planted. That's not the sort of stewardship we'd want to see going forward. And almost every time when I walk adjacent to that property, I see raptors on that tall windswept tree and the others that exist there now. And not just your common everyday hawks. Of course, we see red tails and kestrels, but I've seen white-tailed kites there too. Some rarer raptors. And there isn't much open grassland that we have in the city itself. So that's particularly valuable, and that's why those birds are there. Not to mention our herd of, I've seen 12 deer crossing that property. In fact, I showed a video of that to Josh Richmond. So what I do want to point out is Solvang can do better.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lansing. That's all the slips I have. Do I have anybody else in the audience that wishes to make a comment? This is general comments at this time. Anybody on Zoom? It doesn't appear that way. All right. we'll bring it back to the council, and at this point in time, I'd like to take this to the city manager's report and the advance calendar. Mr. Murphy, it's all yours.
Thank you, and just so you know, I just flew in from Vegas, and boy, are my arms tired.
Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum.
My wife, please.
I'm here all week. A couple of announcements. I received an email from the county Office of Emergency Services stating that President Biden did sign a disaster declaration for the storms in early February. So there, anybody who did receive or unfortunate damage from that, let me know. I can provide you a link to the county site. I'm not aware of any significant damage, but there may be some. Thursday night, there is here in this chamber, there will be a meeting of a group of folks that are helping to design the Alamo Pintado. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. That's what happens when you just fly in. Thursday night is the public workshop for the Santa Ynez Valley Active Transportation Regional Connector. It'll be in this room beginning at 6 p.m. It will also be on Zoom on our regular city Zoom link. Alamo Pintado is what I was talking about a moment ago. The bridge just east of Alamo Pintado Road over the creek there is scheduled to be replaced. We are going to have Caltrans here at a meeting in September to discuss it in more detail. We did post this information on our website and Facebook page. Briefly, next summer, 25, the project report will be completed. Design will be completed about 3 years later. Construction is scheduled to begin in early 29 with construction to end in summer of 2030. So they're looking to improve that bridge. That information is over on the table next to the agenda. I also wanted to talk about the Skip Mesa item is going to be a brief discussion later, but there is some request to provide information regarding a lighting solution for the entrance off of 246. So that information has been submitted out to the community, and we're looking to get that information back. And that's all I have for now.
Okay, questions for the city manager? Okay, we have the advanced calendar. We took a look, I don't have it right here, where'd it go? It's fine. We have an advanced calendar, it's printed out in the form. My apologies. Let's go on to council comments. This is requests, changes to the agenda, things of that nature. Any of you have, any of the council members have a comment?
Mr. Mayor, if I can make a clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Any changes to the agenda would be consent item 4A. So just to clarify that
Thank
should
you.
wait till the next agenda
We'll
item.
wait till the next agenda item. I messed up again. Okay, so council comments or requests at this time from anybody?
My only comment is I get the biggest kick out of reading the comments from the visitor center. They list all the questions they get. Why do so many stores have all that Dutch stuff? Are the Dutch really the founders of Solvang too, or something? It's cute.
Cute.
You need to read the comments on the threads on the TikToks of all the people that say it's not Dutch, it's Danish.
That's all I have.
All right. Well, Mr. Mayor, I do have to report that this last Saturday at 9:30, I met with residents and members of the HOA of the village collection community, and they showed me around. They shared with me some concerns and issues that they would like the city to be addressed, and they also shared with me some history about their stewardship of the roads that connect with their common areas, Lot 71, Lot 72, how it's relevant archaeologically and historically to our town. So I'll be sharing that with staff later so that we can continue to work together.
Way to go, Frank. Thank you. Anybody else?
As mentioned earlier, I was at the Economic Summit, did a great job. And no matter what anybody said, the mayor did an okay job of our presentation. So it was timely and valuable information. So please go to those websites and look up that information that's been posted.
But I refused to let Steve Solis jump his horse over me. I said no. There's a story there, and we'll go into it later. All right, so I want to go through a couple of things. It's been pretty busy for the last few days. So I was at a book signing at CalNet, previously known as Wildling. Our local resident, George Rose, is a photographer, and he just finished off a magnificent book of the area, and that is now for sale at the California Natural Museum. Went to an SB meeting where we heard a lot about the new electric buses that are going on and what's happening there. Sat in here for a design review committee and planning commission joint meeting, listening to how we're going to try and improve the process of businesses getting their permits and things of that nature. And again, it has been mentioned a couple times, I was at the 2024 Economic Development Conference over at Coast Range. Not Coast Range, where were we? Craft House, thank you. Wrong restaurant, sorry. I met with Greg Hart at his sidewalk office out in front of Vets Hall over the weekend. Was at the opening reception at the Elverhoy for the art called Under the Same Sun, From Lowriders to Farm Workers. If you people want to see something absolutely amazing, you got to go by the Elverhoy. There's a family of artists that have created pictures on cardboard, on paintings, but all kinds of things. It's quite an amazing display. This afternoon, I was on a Zoom meeting with FEMA on flood insurance rate maps. They have been adjusting the flood insurance rate maps. So things like when we washed out, not this year, but last year, the Alisal Road on the way down to the Alisal Ranch, and we had to replace that road. Those types of things are listed on a map. Those maps define what kind of insurance you can have or not have. Also has to do with residences, but they have a whole new set of maps, and you can get through all of that on the Santa Barbara County website. Okay, that's all I have. Let's go on to the consent of then. So we have no public items comment on consent items. Do any of our council members have a comment?
Yeah, if it pleases the board, I'd like to move item 6B in front of 6A for courtesy to our people here tonight.
To the crowd?
Yeah.
May I assist with the formulating of the motions to accomplish that, if everyone's in agreement?
Well, I guess a motion will tell us that. I'll move to move item 6B in front of 6A, just swap those two for tonight.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Arona.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Infante.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Can I have a motion to accept the rest of the consent calendar with as is? Without the order of the agenda, which was as modified. Thank you. Motion?
I'll move to
Sorry,
accept.
but we didn't modify the consent. We modified the rest of the agenda, right? Consent items are not changed.
Yeah, so if I could help clarify.
Yeah,
So
please.
the motion that was just passed was to change the order of the agenda as presented, which is item 4A. So implicit in that was withdrawing item 4A from the consent items.
Yeah.
So the next motion would be to approve the remainder of the agenda. Yeah, first you need to approve the agenda as modified with items with items 6A and B switched. And then make a motion to approve the remainder of the consent items for B through E.
Can we just say what you said?
Yes, let me say it one more time.
No,
Okay.
can we just make a motion to do what
yes,
Chelsea just said?
Yes, you can do that. So
Second, what she said.
So it's two actions, so I'll give them to you one by one. How's that? Okay, you need a motion to approve the order of the agenda as amended to have item 6A moved after item 6B.
Moved. Second.
That we just voted on.
That's just what we just voted on.
Well, you're approving the whole order of the agenda right now. Before you agreed that you wanted to do that.
Okay.
Just the way it was stated.
All right.
We could have done it a little more efficiently, but
We did it inside out.
yes. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Rona.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Fonte.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And then the next motion would be to approve the remainder of the consent items 4B through E.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 4B through E.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Rona.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Infante.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, let's move on to item 6B. Since that was, we had just to change that too. If you'd introduce that for us, please, Madam Clerk.
Discussion and possible action to receive and file human services grant application presentations. This is a receive and file. There'll be no action.
Staff report, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the public, and council members. Tonight, we will hear presentations by the Human Services Grant application, and there will be no action taken. The action at the May 28th meeting, staff will bring forward to you for action to be approving the grant funding requests. And we received 13 applications, and I don't know if all of them are here to present. But what we'll do is we'll go in order as they're listed in the staff report. And if they have a presentation, they will come up and speak. And I have not vetted the applications to the grant funding policy. We will do that and then present that to the budget committee and then bring all the information to council.
Okay, so one more time. If you're here to represent a grant funding request, then we'll give you 5 minutes to speak on that subject. We will not make a decision tonight on anything. We are here to listen. There will be a budget committee meeting there'll be 5 of us that are involved, 2 of us from the council and administrator and so on and so forth. And those folks will come back at that meeting that you discussed.
May 28th.
Thank you. And that's the time when we will tell you what is, well, we'll bring it to the council to vote on what's going to be approved.
And at the May 28th meeting, you will vote on what applications get potentially funded, and then we'll take that information and put that into the budget, and then we'll have a budget hearing, the first meeting in June, and then the final meeting, the second meeting in June, will be the actual approval of the budget with the grant funding applications in it.
Super.
Okay.
I think we all have that straight.
Yeah.
Who's our first
All right, we
presenting.
have Atterdag at Home.
Hello, Mayor Infante and the City Council. I want to start out by thanking you all for past grants. It's meant a lot to our program, and we depend on it. We do a lot for seniors in the Valley. My name is Karen Brown. I'm the director of Atterdag at Home Meals on Wheels program, and we served close to 22,000 meals to homebound seniors, veterans, and younger folks with challenges in 2023. No one is turned away because of their ability to pay. We continue with our mission of neighbors helping neighbors. The goal of Atterdag at Home is not only to provide daily nourishment physically, but also emotionally. Our 227 amazing volunteers deliver meals Monday through Friday, rain or shine. Not only do they use their own car and gas, but also put a happy smile on and spend their time knocking on doors, delivering, and making sure that our senior friends are doing okay. Our volunteers have gotten to know the people that they serve. They know their habits, they know when something is not quite right, and they communicate that with us. I call my volunteers sometimes the first responders to things that are wrong. Along with the regular hot meal delivery, a few years ago, we saw a need for adding to their meals for the weekend. So we have some volunteers up at Atterdag Village, seniors, that put the bags together. We served over 5,000 bags last year, and a lot of people get more than one bag because I have some people that actually have nothing else for the weekend. So I think that we're doing a really good job there, but of course it costs a lot of money and food costs are going up. And but we are holding to giving that to them at no cost. Last week I had a volunteer celebration, and one of my volunteers brought a wonderful article. I don't know if you all remember the Los Padres Sun, but it was an article from 1988. And it was a story about a lady that started Meals on Wheels in 1968. Her name was Hazel Seckler. And Hazel saw the need back in 1968 that there was becoming more seniors. People were homebound. They needed to have help. And what she did is first of all, she realized that she needed a commercial kitchen. And she looked around and she found the Solvang Lutheran Home, which is now the Atterdag Village. And we happened to have a dietitian on board, so that way they could get their meals, any meal specifications that they needed. And from there, she went to all the local churches, talked to the ladies, and they got a rotation of church people that would deliver the meals. That still happens today. I still have 7 different groups that still deliver religiously. I have people in the program that have been delivering for over 40 years. 2 years ago, Marie Tevis, who was a coordinator of her group, she had been delivering meals since the program started. And I think what's fun about the volunteers is I'm now getting younger volunteers. A lot of my volunteers say, oh, I remember doing it when I was a kid. My mom used to bring me along to volunteer. And it's interesting because now that I have people coming with their little ones to say, these are my future volunteers here. So it starts very young, that inspiration, that wanting to give back, wanting to do more. I have some little boys that they don't want their grandma or their mom to bring the meal up. They want to put the meal in the basket and count every item and go up and say hi. So that's making a huge difference. The lady that started the program, her biggest concern was is it going to carry on for generations? So I'm happy to report that it's been almost 60 years. We're still doing the program. It's still succeeding. Back in 1968, the meals were $2.20. So the meals have only gone up to $6 in all those years. I don't think anyone can say that about any other thing that they pay for. Meals on Wheels, we're still providing food for homebound seniors, along with making heart-to-heart connections with those that we serve. And it's because of generous supporters like the City Council, foundation members, and the volunteers that keep this program going. I just want to say, let's all make a difference in a senior's life. It means a lot. So thank you so
very
much. Okay.
Who's up next, Wendy?
Bethania Food, Tuesday food distribution.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here, I have a presentation, PowerPoint.
They have it in their packet.
Okay, they have it in their packet. Okay.
Please tell us your name.
So this is Linda Marzullo. I'm Linda Marzullo. I'm co-director of the Bethania Tuesday Food Distribution, which we distribute food weekly, 50 weeks out of the year. The only time we don't is Christmas and when Vacation Bible School is in session. We distribute to people of all backgrounds, ages. Our youngest person receiving food is 13 years old. Our oldest is 94. So what we do and how we were set up, we started during COVID when we realized that people really needed food more than we ever could have dreamed. And we're still going 4 years later. People ask me, why are you still going? That's because food insecurity is huge here because of systemic problems with the cost of living here, the rents, everything, low wages. Majority of our people are all working, otherwise they're disabled or veterans with issues. You can look through the packet and you can see that we began a new system with the food bank in January, which is why the charts are kind of wonky, but we serve close to 6,000 individuals a month. Solvang should be very proud of this because we're taking care of the people who help make the businesses run, the people who are doing all the jobs that make Solvang a great place to come and visit. We wouldn't be able to have the lives we have if we didn't have people who need our help. So it's a very interesting problem that we live in such a wealthy area and everyone says like, oh, well, Solvang's so rich, you don't need money for food for people. Well, no, the people who are doing the work need help. So there's families that are living, in a one-bedroom apartment and there's 10 of them because that's all they can afford. There's families that are living in very sad situations. So if you look through the PowerPoint, you can see that it goes through us packing, what we do. Every Tuesday, we purchase the majority of items that we pack. We used to receive food bank food from the USDA every week during the pandemic, and now we only receive it once a month, which is actually tomorrow we're receiving USDA food. We purchase everything else that goes in the bag, and it's very costly if you think about your own groceries, and we're buying for 240 households a week. So we really need some support. We do our fundraisers. We've been very appreciative of all the local groups that have helped us, including the city and the Rotary and the Vikings and different groups and nice donors. But we still need to keep going because we need to make sure that the families who are working so hard in our area have food to eat every night. If you want to come and see who we're serving, you should come out and see who comes. You can see from the pictures, we're very careful not to show faces, but these people are working really hard. We've had some people say, oh, you're just making it so they're not working. All these people are working. It's quite eye-opening that we live in this beautiful place and people are struggling so hard just to feed their families. So we would really appreciate more support from the city in the coming year. We're doing our best to give healthy meals food for people to take home and cook. And we work with all the other agencies, we had another meeting this morning about food distribution in our area and how we're going to try to work together to maybe solve some of the food insecurity in this beautiful area. Can't do it everywhere, but maybe in this valley, we could make a difference and make a change for people for the better. So, do you have any questions for me?
Questions?
No?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Bethania Preschool, and their presentation is also in your packet.
Yeah, I just found the preschool.
Hello. I'm Katie Pearson. I'm the Vice President of the Bethania Preschool and After School Board. Hi, good evening, City of Solvang Council. My name is Lola Gonzalez. Thank you for having us tonight. I'm the Director of Bethania Preschool and After School Program located here in the heart of Solvang. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about our preschool and our after school program. Bethania Preschool and After School Program has been providing high-quality childcare to the San Ynez community since 1987. Our preschool program caters to ages 2.5 to 5 years old, and we currently have 48 children enrolled in our preschool program. Our preschool curriculum is comprehensive and encompassing pre-reading and writing and math skills along science and art, alongside outdoor activities. And our preschool program is designed as to progress seamlessly from one classroom to the next, in which by the time that they reach our 4 to 5 year old classroom, these kids are ready and prepared to go off to kindergarten. And a lot of the kids come right back to us in our after-school program. We've seen a huge increase in our after-school program, which tells us that a lot of parents have gone back into the workforce and they need that after-school childcare, once kids have been released from Solvang School. Our after-school program caters to ages 5 to 12 years old, and we currently have 46 kids enrolled in our program. For the elementary school-aged children, our after-school program provides a structured environment where kids can complete their homework, they engage in recreational pursuits, they engage in crafts and activities, and this is all done during the whole school year. I really want to stress that we are open year-round for families in the San Ynez Valley. We only close 1 week in December for Christmas and then 1 week in the summer, and that's just to prepare for the following school year, get everything ready. And I want to stress that our staff at Bethania Preschool and After School Care goes right across the street to Solvang School to pick up all of our after-school kids from Solvang Elementary, and I have a really good relationship with Solvang School. All my kids go there. They've been attending Solvang School since kindergarten, and they've been at our preschool. They're in our after-school program now. So I really believe in what we do, and I'm excited to see my kids grow up in Solvang. So what we're requesting from the City of Solvang is to specifically support our tuition assistance program, because the cost of childcare is an enormous expense to families. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services decided that about 7% of your household income is what they deem affordable. However, the national average is 24%. So at Bethania, we're trying really hard to make sure that our costs are as low as possible for the families who really do need the assistance so they can work full-time. We have a sliding scale in place that will allow families up to 50% off of their monthly tuition based on qualifying factors. So we really would love some support specifically into this fund so we can keep it going for the 2024-2025 school year. And we're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions, anyone?
How many scholarships are now given? You said there was 48 children in preschool. How many of those are scholarship?
Right now, we provide assistance on an emergency basis because our fund is so low, and we're working on building that back up right now. So we do provide assistance for families as they encounter specific emergency situations where they're unable to pay or do need a little extra time to pay. But we will have a proper system in place, and we'll be able to have numbers starting in the fall.
Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Next, we have Danish Days, and there's no presentation in your packet.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ashley Madrid. I am the co-chair of the Danish Days Foundation. The money granted from the city of Solvang, we greatly appreciate, having received it for numerous years now. It's primarily used for rentals, both equipment, supplies, also entertainment, stage setup, lighting, sound system, extra sanitation in terms of bathrooms and washing stations. The foundation works hard to secure sponsors, both large and small, throughout the community. But as prices go up in the economy and the fees increase, the needs become greater to continue to accomplish the event in its total greatness. We do really heavily rely on volunteers as well for the setup, for the participation, for cooking in the morning, for all kinds of things throughout the weekend. And so we do try to utilize that resource as well. But in the end, things cost money. And so we're asking for the city for help to keep the event going. This is one of the biggest events in town that really preserves the culture of the town and lets us celebrate with neighbors near and far who continue to visit the town throughout the year.
Questions, anyone? What's the date on Danish Days right now?
This year seems later than usual, but 20th, 20, 21, 22
Of?
September. It's always the third full weekend in September.
Just checking. 21 to 23. Have you talked to Parks and Rec about limiting any fees for setting things up?
We have started the application process, and so I have not talked to them specifically about that, but I can. I'll write a note on it. Thank you.
Yeah, please do that. That'll help, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Nature Track, and their presentation is 6th in your packet.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for your continued service to the community. I'm Dennis Beebe from Solvang, and it's my privilege tonight to reintroduce this organization because they haven't been here before you since before COVID, and it is Nature Track, one word, and also the executive director and founder of this organization. Like the other organizations you heard from tonight, we rely on volunteers. I'm one of them. And would all the other volunteers that are here please stand up? Because we wear different uniforms.
Wow.
This is a small, thank you. This is a small percentage of the volunteers. Some of us will muster and be leading kids on a nature hike at Midland School trails tomorrow morning. And we do it multiple times each week during the school year. We're trying to complement the little bit of science, natural science, that the kids get in class. And we respond to what the teacher wants. The teacher reserves us. And we service thousands of children every year. And on the other end of our spectrum, I'm going to leave it to our executive director to talk about where wheelchair people are afforded the same access to nature and even to the beach with a high-tech device over here. So I'd like to introduce Sue Isaker, the executive director and founder of Nature Track.
Great. Thank you, Dennis. Mayor,
Infante and council members, thank you for this opportunity and for your consideration of our funding request. I will briefly describe our program, but more importantly, how your support will benefit Solvang. And next slide. I founded Nature Track in 2011 with the overarching goal to connect students to the natural world during the traditional school day. Then in 2021, I expanded the program to wheelchair users of any age. All trips or wheelchair events are cost-free. We even pay the transportation for all K through 12 trips and assist with transportation costs for the wheelchair users as well. There is never a cost to any participant for our program. Next slide. If we are fortunate enough to receive funding from the City of Solvang, those funds will be restricted to only Solvang residents. Schools in Solvang and senior living facilities centers in Solvang, such as Atterdag, Friendship House, Solvang Senior Center, and Hidden Wings, just to name a few. Next slide, please. This is our 13th season, and we have been supporting Solvang residents for the past 12 years. Last year, 192 Solvang students and their teachers were on the trails with us. The trips are aligned with the students' classroom curriculum, so we are also supporting the teachers' efforts. One teacher said this, "The students learned more on this field trip than I could teach them in a week of classroom instruction. We constantly refer back to what we learned on the field trip." We also lent tracks to the Hidden Wings program so that everyone in their program could enjoy their hiking program. Field trips provide a fun and enriching outdoor experience for students and wheelchair users, an experience they thought they could only dream of. Next slide. As I mentioned, in 2021, we expanded our program to include wheelchair users or anyone with mobility challenges of any age. Our grant request aligns with the city's priorities as we provide opportunities for seniors, veterans, youth, and minors with disabilities to access the natural world. And for some, it's the first time they've been on the beach since needing to use a wheelchair or on trails that they used to hike in their younger years. Nature Track provides freedom tracks for participants. It's an off-road motorized device that attaches to most any manual wheelchair. I invite you to visit our website to see it in action on the beaches and trails, but Abby will demonstrate it right here. Abby is our program director, overseeing all aspects of our field trips.
It's way cool.
So it's a tracks device that will easily traverses sand, snow, and trails. And as I mentioned, we lend these to individuals. We lend them at no cost. So if you have family members that you want to share the beach with, a beach day, and they can no longer walk on the beach, you can borrow tracks. We had a family borrow one and take it to Hawaii, and it fulfilled one of the bucket lists for their mom, that she could be back on the beach again with her children and her grandchildren. We've also sent them to camps for students. All the way down to San Diego, one went so that the student could participate in Sea Camp. And just this weekend, we sent one with a family so that he can attend his camp next year in Big Bear. We utilize many trails, but thank you so much. I know I'm out of time.
Yes.
The rest of the slides are there, and I'm glad you were able to see this.
That's very nice. Thank you very much. It is a tracked vehicle. That's amazing. Yes, ma'am.
Next is Solvang Chamber of Commerce, and no PowerPoint was presented.
Okay.
I didn't think I needed a PowerPoint since I was a pay-to-play here with one product. This is our Solvang map. It is a map that we use all around the city. We give 50,000 to our visitor center as soon as they're printed, which we did this last September. We also do QR codes all around town and up and down the coast. This is the #1 pulled at the airport, #1 pulled map. We're the only Chamber of Commerce that works with a city because you help us out. We put every single business in it. And it's not just a chamber map. It's a business map for every single business in this community. We update it, we lay it out, we put it together. So that's why I didn't feel. And this is our umpteenth year coming And our costs have gone up, as you know, as everybody says, paper costs has gone up, everything from when we bid it out last year. So we would very much like your help to make sure that we have this product on an economic level for every one of our city, city businesses and for our hotels. And the hotels love this, and they are asking for it right now. And so we would very much like to be funded on this coming into the new year. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tracy.
Solvang Senior Center, and no PowerPoint was presented.
Okay.
Good evening once again, City Council members, Mayor Infante. Thank you so much for your past support. I'm glad that you continue to hear that from everyone who comes up, that you've supported so many of us in the community. Once again, this...
We know you, but please introduce yourself
Oh,
for the
I
record.
am so sorry. Ellen Albertoni, Executive Director of the Solvang Senior Center.
Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me. So we come to you every year, happy that you've supported us, but continue to let you know how much and how important your support of our seniors, as we call them, active aging adults, are. Our membership has grown. Every year it grows. It's grown even more now. The Economic Development Conference that we had really opened our eyes up to the need for some place like the Senior Center for folks to come and have a low-cost, enjoyable experience. Not only do we provide meals, but we take care of the entire individual when they come to the center. We provide activities, socialization, references to other services that they may need. We run on a very tight, frugal budget. We make sure that we have everything that we utilize goes to our seniors. We don't go outside of the bounds. You have helped us in the past so much. And you're also helping us to provide a wonderful new future for our seniors. This isn't part of our ask, but you're helping us with our new facility. Providing us with funding for our operations will help us fulfill that dream of providing everyone who comes through the door with a wonderful place to enjoy their lives. Most of our folks, 70% of our folks, are low to moderate income individuals. And once again, referring back to our summit, when you see in Santa Barbara County what's considered low income is in other places is just very comfortable. Many of our seniors, which we find out through our tax prep season, which we do a free AARP tax preparation at the center, we find out what their needs are. You find out where they stand financially, and it's very eye-opening. But through your support and many of the wonderful folks we have here in the audience that we work together, we're able to provide people with a beautiful, wonderful life. And we are glad you support us, and we hope you continue to support us. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions on the council?
Thank
you very
you.
much, Ellen.
Thank you.
Next is Solvang School Education Foundation, and they're the third PowerPoint presentation in your packet.
Good evening, Mayor Infante and council members. My name is Jody Williams. I'm the president of the Solvang School Education Foundation. Our mission is to ensure that every student at Solvang School has access to a comprehensive education for the whole child, challenging their brains, cultivating their creative spirits, and promoting physical well-being. This is accomplished through our dedication to funding all science camps and enrichment trips, a large portion of the music, art, and drama teachers' salaries, helping purchase needed school supplies and musical instruments, and funding numerous school spirit programs throughout the year. One of our main objectives is to fund all enrichment trips for all students. Solvang School is proud to offer numerous cultural and enriching field trips throughout the year for TK through 8th grade, as well as the multi-day 5th grade trip to outdoor school and 8th grade trip to Catalina Island Marine Institute. Research has shown that children who attend outdoor schools and get to learn in a natural environment have increased test scores by up to 27%, enhanced attitudes about school, improved in-school behavior, improved attendance, and overall enhanced student achievement. Hands-on experiential learning has also been linked to physical and emotional development in addition to cognitive development. Fifth grader Mason Simpson says, "My experience at outdoor school was something that I will never forget. I made so many memories and got to be out in nature. The 12-mile hike was my favorite part. At first, I regretted it because it was long and painful. But when I got to the top, I couldn't be more grateful that I was able to get there. All those kids that finished became legends that day." I got to make deeper connections with my peers. I hope the next kids who get to go there get to make these memories, the experiences, and the nights and days they will never forget. Eighth grader Luke Elliott says of the CME, the Catalina Island Marine Institute, CME was really fun all around, from the bus and boat ride over to the camp and all the fun and interesting activities. I think that it was a great bonding experience for the whole 8th grade. Unfortunately, in the past, some students have not attended these important rite of passage trips due to financial constraints. We are committed to alleviating the economic burden from families and ensuring that no child is left out of these life-changing experiences. In addition to the 2 science camps, SSCF also is funding various field trips for all grades throughout the year. Funds from this grant request will be allocated to the science camp expenses, helping ensure we can provide all the other SSCF-supported school programs with other money raised throughout the year. There are approximately 626 students at Solvang School for the 2023-24 school year. These numbers are expected to remain the same for 2024-25. Out of these students, approximately 120 make up the 8th and 5th grade student body who directly benefit from these trips, but all students will benefit from the support from the city. Solvang School is also happy to continue its shared facility use agreement with the city and allow for free public parking and use of both campuses for recreational purposes on weekends and after-school hours. This benefit for Solvang residents and tourists is heavily utilized and provides a safe, park-like environment for families and children to enjoy our grounds, play equipment, and parking facilities. Thank you for your time this evening. Do you have any questions?
Questions from the council?
I'm not familiar with the school. Do you have an active PTA or anything along those lines?
Yes, the Solvang School Education Foundation acts as the PTA. We do all of the teacher appreciation, parents coordination, involvement, as well as fund so many of these programs like the art and music and field trips.
And for those of you that don't know, Jody was responsible for the mayor for the day. The little young girl, Finley, that came here.
Finley Henderson, yes,
Yeah.
she loved it.
So much so, her mother sent an email thanking all of us. I was sick and I couldn't attend, unfortunately, but Randy and everybody took over. She had such a great time, she's going to run for mayor next year.
You better get ready for your election. And does that mean you're signing up for that as a donation again for Boots and Bling?
We'll talk.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Next is Solvang Theater Fest, and their PowerPoint is fourth in the packet.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Coe. I'm the Executive Director of the Solvang Theater Fest. Our mission is to promote the highest quality of artistic expression while fostering a space that is safe, accessible, and inclusive to all. Solvang Theater Fest has experienced a significant increase in visitors, and that's pretty incredible because back in 2019, pre-COVID, we did one concert in the spring, we did one concert in the fall, and we did 5 concerts in the summertime, none of them drawing more than 75 people. Well, now we have an estimated 30,000 annual patrons coming in for 2024, including our PCPA performances. So that's a pretty amazing growth. When we came out of our construction in 2022, this council told me, we support you, but we frankly don't think you can do it. We don't think you can grow. And we have. We will produce 21 concerts and events, 56 PCPA plays, and provide facility usage for 13 different outside entities, including the City of Solvang for the return to the haunted house. For that event, we virtually and literally return our theater over to you for 2 weeks. And we're really happy that you're back. By investing in the Solvang Theater Fest, the City of Solvang demonstrates its commitment to supporting the arts, promoting tourism, and enriching the lives of its residents and visitors alike. Where your support will help: programming, facilities, outreach initiatives. Our programming, 8 of our last 12 events have sold out. And that's because we have been able to elevate the type of bands, type of performances that we bring in. And a lot of those performances come midweek because that's when we can get the higher quality bands to come to Solvang and play in a 700-seat theater. And that's just great benefits for the hotels, for the restaurants, and for everybody to see your incredible city. It will enable us to host a diverse range of performances and events, improve the safety, accessibility, and comfort of our venue, implement educational outreach programs that engage underserved populations and foster a deeper appreciation for the performing arts. We say thank you to your support, and in this, our 50th year, our golden anniversary, we hope that Solvang Theater Fest and the city together can make next year even better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions from the council? Thank you very much.
Next is Veggie Rescue, and they are the last, they're number 5 in the PowerPoint, and they're the last ones that have a PowerPoint, but they're not the last ones to present.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, Mayor and council members. Nice to see you. My name is Christine Franke, and I'm the Development Director for Veggie Rescue. I did think that the slides were going to be up there, so I will just help you follow along. It's already been mentioned by some of our partners that the food insecurity situations in the area, Santa Barbara County and so forth, are quite phenomenal. And we have a food model, a food rescue model, that really bridges the gap between our farmers and all of the amazing produce and food that's produced in the valley and in the county, and then getting it to the folks that need it. The best way to do that is to work with nonprofits. So we have about 60 farmers countywide where we pick up, and food producers, and we transport, and so our refrigerated trucks are really, really important, and we get it to over 45 nonprofits countywide that are feeding our community members who are facing food insecurity, whether it's through meal programs on site or grocery distributions. Last year, the big number for the entire county, we rescued 680,000 pounds of food. And when you use the national equations, that's over 560,000 meals, just to kind of wrap your brain around that. That's 5 times the amount that we were rescuing in 2021, which was still post-pandemic, and clearly there was a need for food. I did have a graphic to draw your attention to the fact that over 54% of that food that I just mentioned goes to low-income families that are countywide. The next is seniors, and then homeless shelters and youth. So we are making a huge impact, specifically to Solvang and the San Ynez Valley and the surrounding neighbors, cities and towns. Over 31% stays here. So the food that we're rescuing is going to organizations and churches and such that are helping the people that we have right here in the valley. The thing that sets us apart is that we're rescuing and delivering within 24 hours. Our refrigerated trucks, we never take something off the truck and store it somewhere. It's going straight to a nonprofit. So we're even able to be flexible and deliver to nonprofit, let's say, Wednesday morning, because they're going to be doing a big, huge meal, on-site meal plan that night. So we're able to be flexible and be where we're needed the most. The other thing about minimizing food waste is that we're also being good stewards of our natural resources. Because when you waste food and someone doesn't get to benefit from the nutrient dense of the produce and such, we're wasting the sun and the oil for the tractors and the water that was used to grow said food. So that's something else to keep in mind. The only other thing I want to mention is that the thing that you will always see is our truck with that carrot. That carrot is always moving. And one of our trucks has like 275,000 miles on it. So I would love everybody to start following us on Instagram and Facebook and such, because we're going to need to replace that van at some point this year. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions from the council? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Santa Ynez Valley Therapeutic Writing Program.
Anna Marie, do you have any more water?
Hi, Mayor and Council members. My name is Morgan Kastanek, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement at the Santa Ynez Valley Therapeutic Writing Program. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present on behalf of the program and for your past support. It is our mission to provide quality equine-assisted services to individuals with disabilities, regardless of their ability to pay. We serve over 50 individuals each week. Of those individuals, we have about 70% who receive scholarship support. We do not have our participants pay any more than $40 to receive our services. The actual cost is about $120, so it's extremely important to us and very rooted in our mission to keep those costs low. Of course, the individuals that we're serving have a lot of other therapies that they're paying for, a lot of other medical costs. We want to make sure that they also have access to this valuable resource. We are graciously requesting support from the City of Solvang so that we can continue to offer therapeutic riding to 18 individuals, specifically from Solvang for 3 months. And that would include individuals of children and seniors with physical, cognitive, behavioral, or other disabilities. Right now, we are providing on a regular basis lessons to 5 students with special needs from the Solvang School District. We have another 6 adults, ages 18 to 60 from Solvang, and 1 adult, again from Solvang, who is age 67. So we are proposing to add 6 additional students to that roster, and they would participate at no cost. We hope you will consider that. We so appreciate your support. And I want to thank you again for your consideration and to all of the amazing nonprofits that we get to work alongside and serve our community members. So thank you so much for your time. And do you have any questions?
Questions, anyone? One quick question.
Yeah.
What's the primary use of the funding that you're requesting?
Yeah, so it goes towards the staff time and essentially the facility and horse usage that goes into it. So like I said, lessons are usually $120. That would cover our costs for a 30 to 40 minute lesson that goes into that. So by paying the scholarship for these participants to be able to access our services, they're not paying any of that. So that's horses are not a cheap thing to maintain, but they are amazing therapeutic partners, and all of these costs go into their care, into the facility care, into staff care, or not staff care, but the staff expenses.
Yes, if you remember, Jim Thomas, who is a prior city council member, had donated his horse to
We
the
still have
therapeutic
her,
riding.
Belle.
Do you
Yeah,
still have
and
that?
she is incredible. She's incredible.
Jim would be very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Solvang Rotary 4th of July Parade.
Good evening, the Honorable Mayor and members of the council. I'm Steve Palmer. I'm representing Solvang Rotary, and more importantly, the members of the community who enjoy and participate in a traditional 4th of July parade. I've had the pleasure to serve as the chair of the 4th of July Parade Committee for the Solvang Rotary for the past 7 years. So for a quick show of hands, how many have either participated or watched the parade here in Solvang? Great. So the city of the audience tonight, I was kind of struck by something as I was thinking about the 4th of July parade. And here I was witnessing democracy in action. Our elected representatives representing the people, and the people appearing before them to express their ideas and debate and participate in the process. Our founding fathers would be proud. The risks they took close to 250 years ago was definitely worth it. Thank you for taking the risk of being the leaders up here in our community. I'm sure it's not always easy. The 4th of July parade and celebration is an important event for our community and for our nation. A brief history of the 4th of July parade in Solvang. This is the first time the city has supported the parade for years and years, but this is the first time we've come before you asking for funding. The story I've been told is previously the parade was sponsored by what's called the San Ynez Valley Coordinating Council. They were a fundraising group that raised funds and spread money around local charities, and they provided the manpower and the resources to put on the parade. They also would have a 4th of July Queen as well every year, similar to what the Elks do in raising money. That group disbanded in 1996 approximately, and the Solvang Rotary, kind of as a logical, stepped up into its place and to provide the people and the resources. We've never really done a formal survey, but estimates of close to 5,000 people attending the parade is not unreasonable based on the spectators, sometimes 4 and 5 deep along the 1-mile parade route. And the financial impact is likely significant as well. Over the years, we worked closely with and cooperatively with the city and staff, police, fire, and law enforcement, the Chamber of Commerce, and also the San Ynez Rotary, who puts on the fireworks show. We kind of stay out of their way in the morning, and they stay out of our way later to make it all work together. So our funding request, in the past, it's always been the city absorbing the costs of generally speaking, with city staff overtime and regular time to work on a holiday, because the 4th of July is always on a holiday. And that cost was hard to estimate, but last year they were thinking it was right around $4,000 or so. And they asked us then to come this year and kind of ask for a funding request. Additional costs that we incur and we've always paid for is the sheriff's overtime, the street sweeper, portable toilets, which we share that cost somewhat with the San Ynez Rotary for the fireworks, and some miscellaneous flyers and sign paintings and sign printing. So really what we're looking for is continuation of what you've done in the past, maybe a little bit of help with some of the additional costs that continue to get more and more expensive. And again, just remembering the parade is one of the biggest, the parade and the 4th of July celebration is one of the most important events in Solvang, alongside Danish Days, Jewel Fest, and some of the other events that we have in town. Thank you for your consideration. Any questions?
Questions from anyone?
No.
Thank you very much.
And the final presenter tonight is Viking Charities.
That was a big sigh, Roger.
Greetings, council members, city staff members, audience, and those watching online. My name is Roger Lane, and I'm a member of the Vikings of Solvang. The Vikings were established in 1974, and we're a charitable group. We help serve the medical needs of qualified individuals and healthcare organizations in Santa Barbara County. As a matter of fact, listening to a lot of these speakers, we've given money to a lot of these people in the past. We get our money from donations, primarily from Viking members, but also from the general public too. Recently, we've started, though, a couple of enterprises to help us raise money so we can continue our good deeds. One of them is a car show. We had our first annual Viking Charities Classic Car Show last year in Solvang. Our car show had over 200 registrants and their family. We had over 2,500 spectators, and we bring those people to Solvang where they spend the day looking at cars and walking around, shopping, eating, drinking, things like that. We're going to be putting on a show again this year. It'll be Saturday, October 19th. It turned out to be fairly expensive to put on the show. I've included in my packet, you can see a budget, you can see. And really, all I'm asking is for the city of Solvang maybe to help us with some of the fees or waive some of the fees that they charge us to put on the show. That leaves more money for us to bring in to use to help fund different charitable organizations and things. And so that's basically my main request, and so we can keep doing our good deeds and everything. Any questions about that?
Good, thank you.
Good? All right, thanks.
Thanks very much, Roger.
All right.
That's the end of the list then, Wendy? Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so, and you can see that everybody that was here to talk about that is going.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly, Mr. Mayor, just
Yes.
to add, the last couple, as was pointed out, typically have not received a quote-unquote contribution from the city, but the fees have been waived.
Right.
We updated the special events policy recently, and we are in an attempt to making everything transparent. I mean, obviously, these things cost money. We couldn't charge fees otherwise. So this is primarily, the last two were about waiving the fees
Waiving
the
the
city would
fees.
otherwise have to charge.
Right,
I like that angle very much.
yeah. Rather, okay.
It's cooperation.
We will talk about that at the budget meeting when we get together and discuss who gets what money and everything else. Thank you. Okay.
Do you have just, is there a quick ask or a discussion on this? Anything with regard to the process we're going through next?
Well, the next step, I believe, would be to have public comment, or at least offer it for anyone who's here. And then after that, yes, you could have a brief discussion. There's just no action on the item.
I thought about that. We were supposed to have public comment before it.
We were treating those presentations kind of like an applicant presentation. Usually with the public hearing, they go first, they get a little bit longer. So that's how we treated that, but now we would need to give the general public an opportunity to comment.
So the question then is, anybody in the audience wish to make a comment about what we just heard? I think Ms. Elamine has her hand up. Yes, please.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. I had to sit through all of the committee, all of the residents here in Solvang who are helping people who don't make over $150,000. And thank you so much, Dave Brown, for moving the Skid Mesa people from the top to the bottom. I appreciate that so much. I was able to listen to all of the needs here. And I do know and recognize that you spend a lot of money on tourism, and you spend a lot of money on other things. And now is the time for you to spend a lot of money on people and the needs of the people in this great city of Solvang. Everybody who came and who presented before you is here for the people in Solvang. They have a need. They're not here because they are lazy and they don't want to go to work, or they just want to ask for handout. They have a need, and this city should recognize that the same way they recognize the need of the businesses. If we don't do this, then the businesses won't make money. Well, if we don't help these organizations, then there will be people here who won't be able to get around. There won't be there'll be mental health issues. So really and truly, we need to check our priorities and help the community a lot more, and take into consideration donating money, because I do know I do know at least one city council member does not like donating, and he doesn't feel like this is where our money should go. It should just go to the builders, I guess. I'm just asking, since I had to sit here, Mr. Brown, thank you so much for taking me from A to B. I appreciate that so much. I'm able to talk about it. Please consider community. They need donations. They need your help. This is a community of regular people, and I would appreciate you guys donating and helping out all of these organizations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please step to the, and introduce yourself to everybody.
Rodriguez. I just had a question. Is this comment for the Skip Mesa? Are we talking about?
Not yet.
Okay,
That's coming up in a minute. Okay. So do we have anybody online that wanted to speak on this? It doesn't look like it. All right, then if there are no further comments from the council, we'll move to 6.
Wait, comments.
I'm sorry, you have a
All right.
comment. Please, go ahead.
I know we're going to go through a process on evaluating these applicants, but I do want to just underscore that last year we got pretty rigorous about our methodology for evaluating the funding, and I thought it worked. But there was still some after or post-application chatter in the system about whether everyone was providing the proper insurance and providing the proper reporting out of receipts where we required it, how the money was being spent. So I would just ask that we add or we ensure that as part of the methodology, we've ticked those boxes. That's not part of our application process, but we do evaluate that the money we've given before, if we have a repeat applicant, that they've participated, in the complete cycle of the process and have shown us how the money has been spent if we ask them for that, and that they are complying with all of our protections of liabilities to the city.
Yes, with the contract, they have to supply all the insurance, and then some of the applicants have to provide invoices and payment, canceled checks or proof of payment. And if they haven't, and there are several that we are still waiting on, and I've sent several emails asking for that documentation. And one of the things that we will need to change for next year is the final report on how the funds were spent. The contract states June 30th. So coming into this next year, with the new agreements, we're going to be changing that date to make it March 31st. That way it's all streamlined. But we are still waiting on the majority of the final reports. And that will be, once we start the process, that will be listed as still needing. So we are keeping track of it, yes.
Thank you.
I really think that's important, guys, because we're a public entity. Transparency has to be shared, right?
Correct, yeah.
We're obligated.
Yes.
And we need the applicants to participate on a level playing field.
Yes, absolutely.
I was going to comment, we can certainly condition any contributions we make or agree to this year on the applicant's follow-up or follow-through with the requirements for the previous year's money.
Well, we changed the requirements last year.
We
That
did,
said
but
we
what
only
Mee's saying
reimburse
is
what you've
some
spent.
of them haven't provided the report, for instance, on how they spent the money.
That's what she's.
Because the date doesn't coincide with the granting of the money for the subsequent years. So we're going to adjust that going forward.
Okay. So it's
But
date
for this year, again, that could potentially be a condition of granting the money for those that have not provided all of the information.
Okay, that's a great point. So Randy, let me put that in plain language. What I'm hearing you say is that while our dates don't align for when we might grant this year's money, we would not maybe release the dollars until we actually see the reports for the expenditures from last year. Okay, thank you.
And we can put in the new contract that funds will not be given until that report is turned in.
I thought that was in the existing one that we just set up last year.
It's in the contract that says you will fill out this report, but it doesn't state future funds will be not given until that is. But that is actually a change that I've already made in the next policy. So I've started keeping notes. And another thing will be presentations, and all the materials need to be turned in by a certain date and flash drive and all that.
Okay, if I may ask, so the applicants that are asking for money now, if the money is granted to them and they have not filled out or let us know how they spent the money previously, they're not going to get money.
The money will be held up until they provide that.
Thank you, okay. I have two other things I can do my math myself, I just haven't looked at this that closely, but I was just looking at, like, for example, the Theater Fest at 1.2 million annual budget, and then they're asking for just under 10% of their total annual budget. I'd like to know what's on the high and low end, but the information's here for me to look for myself, so I can figure that out. And then, one of the stipulations is that an entity cannot use money to give to another entity. But a lot of the entities have said, we received money from this person and this, or this group and this group, and then those groups have received money. So is it just specifically you can't take money from one group gets a grant and they give it directly to another grant, or it goes into their general fund and then they donate to Veggie Rescue or whatever? Because there's a lot of that commingling of the nonprofits in the valley. It's almost like kind of a circle.
The policy states that money will not be given to those who are a transfer of monies, which will be discussed at the budget meeting and then brought to council.
So the reporting of the expenditures will expose.
Yes, yeah. And if you recall, last year, all the 990s and the financial reports, that was all in the packet, and it's all public record. And we did have someone say that this year that they were not going to give us that information because they did not want it public.
Who, I'm sorry, who?
I'm not going to
somebody.
say
I'm
state the
sorry, but
name.
a specific group that wants
Correct.
money cannot give us the money.
Well,
give us the
no, they
990.
stated
Or the
that they
information.
did not want to give us the information.
That's wacky.
And in the policy, it states that all information submitted will be public, for public record.
Okay.
So that's another thing that we'll discuss during the budget meeting.
Interesting. The last thing I would add is remind my fellow council members that in just the last 5 years, the sheriff's contract has gone from 1.7 million to $2.8 million a year. Nothing's getting cheaper, and money is tight.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else?
Can I just say one more thing? We should not make any exceptions in this process. There should be an expectation of all the applicants that they're getting equal assessment, and if there's a rational reason, I suppose we can listen to why someone would not be willing to report their expenditures. But this is a public entity. Everything we're doing is public, and if they're a not-for-profit, then they should have an expectation of that level of transparency. We just can't make exceptions in the process for spending the public's money.
We'll discuss that at the budget
And we
meeting
didn't make an exception. We told them that they needed to supply it.
Yep.
They're still asking for money.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Do you have something final to say? In that case, I think it's time to go to item 6A, which we had rearranged. So, Madam Clerk, if you'd introduce that for the record, please.
Discussion and possible action to adopt resolution number 241250, resolution of the City Council of the City of Solvang, California, initiating intention for the annual assessment of the Solvang Mesa Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District, number 2004-1 for fiscal year 24-25, setting a public hearing for 6:30 p.m. on Monday, May 13, 2024, on the levy of the proposed assessment.
Staff report, please.
So as you can see, Mr. Olds is not here, neither is he available online due to some health concerns. So I am attempting to fill in, again, after literally arriving here 4 hours ago. So I will do my best to explain what's going on. I have a general understanding of the process. First of all, I want to make clear to everyone that the council is not approving anything other than the resolution setting the public hearing tonight. We are not approving any fee increases. We're going to discuss it, but we're not going to do anything like that. So, Laser, if we could put this up on the screen, thank you. So, obviously, this is what we're talking about tonight. Ms. Elamine's favorite topic, the landscape lighting district. This is the The boundaries, it is the Skit Mesa area. If you really want to know, I can leave it on here longer, but I think we all know where that is. So purpose of tonight's meeting, and also discussing a few other things regarding the landscape lighting district, is this meeting tonight initiates a property tax assessment process to fund the landscape lighting district for the next fiscal year. It is currently, this is not to select or approve the special lighting project that I mentioned earlier during my comments. And as I pointed out, the mailer was sent out to residents to vote on one of 4 options. The vote will be tallied on June 1, and results will be announced on the city's website. The 5-year contract with Brightview is expiring in December, so the meeting tonight is not about that either. The proposal and selection process will begin in the fall, and their neighborhood will be invited to a workshop in August to help scope the proposal. So the assessment process begins with preliminary engineer's report, which is included in tonight's packet. So as I pointed out, tonight's action is the adoption of the initiation resolution, which takes into account the preliminary engineer's report. You're going to approve, we'll be approving the preliminary engineer's report and set the date, the affirmative date of the public hearing, which was announced is May 13, 2024, which is actually our next regular council meeting. At that meeting, the council will be asked to adopt an assessment resolution. Assessment engineer coordinates with after that, the assessment engineer coordinates with the county tax assessor's office. The assessment is set on the property tax roll, and funds are collected, or the funds collected are transferred to the city. So the recommended assessment based on the engineer's report is $1,388.02 per parcel, as further described in Roger's staff report. It's 169 lots, and the benefits are shared with the entire community. So there's an even assessment for every parcel in the development. The amount proposed for next year is a 2% increase, roughly $28 for those who don't like percentages. And it's to cover the cost of ongoing maintenance. And the increase is due to ongoing system repairs, and as I pointed out, all lots benefit equally from the improvements. So again, tonight, council is to receive public comment. Council will discuss and direct the adoption initiation resolution. And the next steps will be to have the public hearing and then discuss and direct and adopt the assessment resolution at the next meeting. And that concludes my report.
If I may, City Manager, I just have a few notes. The version of the resolution that is in your packet and in the agenda packet just had a few errors on it, so I wanted to point those out for the record. Anna Marie and I would, should you decide to adopt the resolution, we would ensure that these changes would be made prior to it being circulated for signature. So in the first whereas clause where it says section 22585, that should say sections 22622 and 22624. In the second whereas clause, it should say section 22622. And then in section 1 of the resolution, where it refers to the government code sections, it should be the streets and highway code sections. And then finally, in section 3 of the resolution, this one's a little wordier, so the sentence should read as follows. The City of Solvang ratifies the work done by Francisco and Associates as the engineer of work to prepare and file the preliminary engineer's report, and hereby approves the preliminary engineer's report as filed for Solvang Mesa Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District number 2004-1. So we'll make those changes, but wanted that to be in the record that the resolution with the edits I just said is the one before you today.
Thank you. Questions of the staff report?
Since we did mention a percentage, can I just ask the basic question? What is the 2% of? What is the?
2% of the $1,360 round figures that is being charged in the current year.
No, sorry, 2% of what?
2% of the current charge.
Okay, the current charge.
2% increase, yeah.
Got it.
Because costs have gone up, water's gone up, whatever, all those costs And the reserve has been depleted a little bit, so
Yeah.
it needs to go up
And that totals $28 for the year,
for the year.
so about $2 a month.
So $2 a month, yes.
No other questions? Then we will take it out to public comment. Ms. Elamine.
Wow, you guys are so funny. I'm hoping Dave will pay my $28. It doesn't seem like a lot for him. Last year, they raised us, I think, I'm not sure, 45. So every year we get raised. If you'll pay my $28, David, I'd appreciate it. I don't have it. The thing that I'm coming here for, because I'm really, this is very illegal what you guys are doing. And how do I know this? And I don't even know how I even got here. But my house before I bought this one was in Duarte, California, and it had an LLMD. And at that point, 25 years ago, I had no idea what an LLMD was. And they taught me, and they told me that you can't raise the assessment amount unless you have every person in the LLMD approved. It has to be a vote. It has to go out to the residents, and the residents have to vote. It was not the city of Duarte who did the vote. But here, you guys seem to think, and I don't know why, I've asked that question of Roger many times, and Randy, he's an HOA man, which is not an LLMD man, and we're never going to be an HOA man, because he does realize that every one of us will have to agree to be an HOA, and I never will. So you know that you're not going to get that. But yes, it's time to go legal with you guys, because you guys evidently don't understand what an LLMD is. And your attorney, I don't know what it is that she is understanding differently from Duarte, California. LLMD means the same thing in each town. And there was only one LLMD in Duarte, California. So I bought this house 10 years ago, and 10 years ago, they offered this same thing. And 10 years now, we still don't have a light. We pay $1,388 assessment, or $1,300 when I moved in, and we have gotten nothing but promises. This is a promise from Roger Oles, who didn't make it here today to give percentages, but it never gets a work order. We haven't had a light, but we pay $200,000 a year for nothing, for nothing, for nothing, and it's illegal. So fine, I'm tired of talking about it. We will go to court, and then it will be either Denise is wrong or the city is wrong, and then I don't have to come here anymore. Thank you very much. I'm tired of talking.
Thank you. That was the only slip I have this evening. Did you want to say something? Please come up.
Mr. Mayor, Justin Rodriguez. I'm a resident of Solvang, live in Skip Mesa, and we got that flyer in the mail the other day for the light that I guess is proposed. It was the first I heard about it, and I did. They said if you want to talk about it, come to this meeting. It mentioned this evening's meeting, so that's why I'm here. The thing that caught my attention about the light is the two options were going to be either a Caltrans Cobra headlight or a solar panel powered solution. And those two options would require trenching up Skip Mesa Road going up. And one of the concerns I had immediately was the road in Skip Mesa right now are pretty well built. There's no cracks. They've had a maintenance recently. They had a hot rubberized crack fill put in the road, and a type 2 slurry, I want to say last year or the year before, was applied. So the roads are in good shape. So trenching that road, especially this pretty steep incline coming up into the neighborhood from Mission Drive, is going to compromise that section, and we're going to have kind of an unsightly trench patch that's probably going to go up the road. So that was my concern. I just thinking of the integrity of the road going in there for future reference, and then also noting maintenance costs if we do a solar panel. So I'd just like to urge for the time being, no vote from my neighbors to one of the options is no improvement for the time being. I just think it would save on money, As we heard earlier, Ms. Alameen likes to pay taxes, so trying to keep the costs down. And I think the maintenance would be another burden and continuing to increase those property taxes, that assessment that we have on our property taxes. I appreciate your time. Yes, sir.
Were you here a couple years ago when we had a meeting on the lighting?
Maybe, I don't remember.
We had several presentations of different ways to put in lighting on that intersection. And again, as you suggested, one was the Caltrans, the Cobra Head light, and there was some other things. None of the residents that were in that meeting agreed that any one of those was a good solution. And so it never got passed. This was, what, 3 years ago? Do you remember, Robert, when that was?
I don't remember that whole conversation.
So it has been presented before, and part of the problem is, yeah, you got to trench up a road, and we're going to mess up your road. Part of the
All of our road, though, we all use it, so.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, well, yeah. But the other part of it was just how much light it puts out, what kind of pole you put up there, what kind of light you put up there, and where does it go? And because if you put it down on the corner, Caltrans has a say-so on it because it gets onto the state highway. So there was a bunch of discussion about that, and I was there, but I was not voting on it because it was the people, the residents of the Skip Mesa. But nobody there was not a consensus on any one proper way to do that, so nothing got done. I suspect that if we were to have that meeting again, we're going to run into that same situation, particularly for the cost it's going to take.
Okay, I appreciate it, yeah. I've always been a proponent for a roundabout there, so if you guys can put pressure on Caltrans, it would help out a lot with that, because it's a dangerous turn coming in and out of there.
Okay, you want to hear that story?
I've heard it before, but yeah.
Well, we're allowed to talk a public comment on an agenda item. We went to Caltrans and said, look, we've got the money, put a stoplight there. So they came out and did a study, said, no, you don't have enough traffic. We won't let you put a stoplight there, even if you pay for it. And so if we can get them to do it again, here's what I want you to do. You get everybody in Skip Mesa the day they do the evaluation to drive down that road, so there's a traffic jam of huge proportions, and then we might get that roundabout.
Let me know. Yeah, it's dangerous.
I will
mean,
let
there's a lot
you
of
know.
families in there with young children making a left turn, and all it takes is one drunk driver, someone to T-bone a car, and then, so,
Mayor
yeah.
Yeah, you
Mayor
go up there
Infante.
all the time.
Mayor Infante, can I just
You gotta
caution
stop
about
me,
having
aren't you?
back and forth
guys.
during public comment?
Appreciate
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else want to say something?
But it's Justin Claus.
I don't have anybody on. Yes, sir. Please come up and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Steve Cullenber. I live in Skip Mesa. And regarding your discussion with the previous, trying to come to a resolution on what to do with lighting, I was in those meetings. And yes, there was no way to come to a conclusion in those meetings. So I think the voting system that's been created is what we agreed to do. And it'll be interesting to see how that comes out. The other thing is I was looking, in fact, I've communicated with Mr. Olds about this document in the plan. So there are some things in there, like how the capital reserves are shown. I asked him questions about that, and I think some of that number's not consistent with the calculations down below. Also, this one includes a $50,000 allocation, if you will, for this lighting project. So the assumption is that this lighting project is going to happen, and that's why he put that in here. So that affects what shows as a reduction in reserve money in this thing. So I think there's more to be learned about what's in this current Table 1 that we've got to work our way through. But that'll all get resolved, I assume, at
that meeting.
May 13 meeting. But anyway, I do get the discussion. I just wanted to say, I was at that meeting.
Good.
And I know how.
Somebody would defend.
I know how that went, and there was no way a resolution was going to come out of that.
Yeah.
And I remember in that meeting, we agreed we would do a vote. So that's what's happening now. So that's, I think, the right thing to do.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
sir. Okay, yes, ma'am. Please come up and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Alice Ola, and I'm not sure that I heard it right, but when you were talking about charities, giving to charities, the only one I heard correctly was Vikings giving to other charities. Most of the other charities that we're talking here
Yeah.
are giving to
I'm going to have
food.
to ask you to hold that for another time. That was a topic we've passed on. We're now talking about the Skit Mesa situation.
Okay,
So-
all right.
But thank you for your input.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alan.
All right, good jobs.
I'm just reclaiming my notebook.
Now you left it, you're going to lose it. Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. Last comments from anybody here? Yes, sir.
One thing that I learned right at this juncture, but in this survey that's being done, is one of the options, is there a do-nothing
Yes.
option? And if that were the case, we wouldn't have this $50,000 expenditure, but we won't know that until the survey's tallied, right? So we're waiting for that feedback. I would propose that that option be available to us, and we modify the assessments knowing if that project's going to go forward or not, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
Because of the way these things go through several processes, we have to have the council, assuming the council approves the increase, it has to be submitted to the county in time to make it on the tax rolls. So we're not going to be able to know that. However, that being said, these funds cannot be spent anywhere but Skit Mesa. So to the extent there is a 2% increase and we don't do the project, that just means next year there's a no increase or a lesser increase than there otherwise might have been. But for budgeting purposes, we have to include it in the budget because it has been discussed, it's been committed to being done. I believe Ms. Elamine said when she moved here 10 years ago, it was being talked about. It's taken a long time to get vetted and all that. We're now at a point where we're going to do something, although maybe not. But again, it depends on what the majority of the residents want to do. And one of the options for council when this comes back to you on May 13th is to not increase to 2%. And what that means is that if something major happens next year and depletes the reserves for the lighting district, something will have to be done that may impact the general fund. So it's another thing to consider.
Your time is up, yeah.
Real quick, it would be wonderful if they would, this is, as said earlier, put upon us to take care of this subdivision. I would like to have this not part of the city, but I'd love to have them form their own HOA, and we wouldn't be in control, it would be in their control, and that would be ideal.
It's so unique.
And it is unique, but if that's what it takes, perhaps that would be the opportunity. So anyway, that's would be utopia.
Okay, so last comments from the council?
Yeah, well, just wanted to check on the legality because, that's being brought up, that there's no basis for this to exist. But I do see that the government section 22500 of the California Code says that, the districts like these may be established and, their special assessments may be levied because they have additional costs that benefit this particular area. So I just wanted to double check this. Is there a basis for this to exist, or did we just make it up yesterday?
No, there's a legal basis for it. That's my understanding anyway. We'll have to leave it to the lawyers to talk about that. All right.
Well, one more comment. In the packet, it makes it pretty clear that establishment was a condition of the approval of the development.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, I was going to move that we move forward with this.
That's a great idea. There's no motion on this. This was strictly a,
You have to
for
set
review,
the,
right?
approve the resolution.
Yeah,
Oh, we
the
do need
action
to
is
approve
to
the
approve the resolution, and as I stated at the beginning, there's a few edits to it, so if, I think the motion could be simply to approve the resolution as amended, consistent with staff's comments during the staff report, and that would give us enough direction to make the edits.
Yeah, I'll move that we adopt the resolution as modified.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
My name's Bob Clark.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Aruna?
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Aruna?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown?
Yes.
Mayor Infante?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, yes, sir. You want us to make a last comment?
I did neglected to mention during my city manager's report that you may have noticed that we've begun using a new city seal on all of our staff reports. We're in the process of using it in city business. It again is not the marketing, not the windmill. It's a modified mermaid. It has a little more color, a little more character, and it is on our staff reports, and we're going to be transitioning various other city specific use.
I even used it in my presentation to the Economic Development Conference. Yeah, it's great. Okay, last comments? No? I declare that this is officially closed at 9:12.